had expected to maybe use some of those actual pedals with the rig, but as soon as we got in and tried the modeling, we realized that it's there, and it, once again, Pepsi Challenge, you know, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
What's happening, guys? Cooper Carter here for Fractal Audio Systems and G66.
I'm James Valentine from Maroon 5.
And we are here at the debut night of Maroon 5's second annual residency at Park MGM's Dolby Live. It is my privilege to be here with my friend James to bring you our most requested tone tour ever. You guys asked for it, and now it's here. We're going to run you through all of James's tones for Maroon 5's show. That's the only one he uses all night.
All night, all night. So initially, I got into the Fractal world when I was using the unit for its delays and reverbs. Just the cost of shipping around my former rig was pretty insane. It literally weighed a ton. Ultimately, one day, Cooper came out and we programmed some patches. We did a blind test where we compared it against a Friedman that I had that we ran against the emulation of the Friedman, and we could not tell the difference. And I said, okay, this is time. And as soon as we made the switch, it was a total game changer, and I'm fully in now. During the rehearsals where we finally made the switch to Fractal, this sounds apocryphal, but it is it's very true. We decided to do a blind test with my Friedman 4x12 and the Friedman patch on the Fractal. So we set up the amp in another room, had it running through my monitors, and then Buffo was switching between the real amp and the modeled amp. I got it wrong. I could not tell the difference. I was like, I'm sure this is the amp. It was the Fractal. So. In creating these patches, I think when we first started, we got a little drunk with power and in imagining the possibilities of exactly recreating all of the tones from the record. And we figured out pretty soon that that's not really what we want to do live. We want to have a handful of amps that we're focusing on, because it just becomes a little too confusing for front of house, even for the audience, if the guitar keeps on changing. So in the interest of continuity, we've based the entire set off of the Divided by 13, the Dumble, the Friedman, and the Mesa Boogie. And so that's one global setting, and those are the 4 amps that we're using. You know, Harder to Breathe, that was our very first single, and it's one of my favorite songs. And it should be noted also that it wouldn't have been on the record if it wasn't for me. The other guys had cooled on this song, and I said, no, this is it, and it ended up being our first single. And it was actually released to modern rock radio. So, I mean, you think of Maroon 5 as a very top 40 pop band, but this actually first hit on modern rock radio. I don't think they really knew what to do with us yet. You know, it was like, are we a rock band? Are we a pop band? Or, you know, so of course in the studio we recorded it with Matt Wallace's little Supro amps. It was a lot of those sounds. It was kind of the Jimmy Page sort of approach to getting big sounds from tiny amps. So we based the verse on a Dumble. Of course, you can't go wrong with the Dumble. And so this needed to be relatively dry. With all these patches, we kind of have like a little skosh little tiny bit of reverb, but we don't want to do too much. Obviously, we're a lot of times playing in big places. We can kind of use that sound. And this is definitely more dry. But then when we get to the chorus, we widen the sound just to open it up. And a little more gain as well. So that just widens it up and it sort of adds drama to the chorus. And that's kind of, that's one of the really cool things about having everything in the box. You can make those calls. You can do more of the studio sort of stuff. Because obviously, if we're tracking this in the studio, yeah, we get to the chorus, we double the guitars. It widens up in the mix and we can kind of recreate that. This Love, it's probably my favorite Maroon 5 song. And it has the plain, clean, funky sound. And this is a very common type of Maroon 5 part. So it's just a clean amp. We've got a little bit of reverb. Again, just a skosh. I like a little bit of bloom to the note. That's in the studio, we often cut that stuff super dry, but it just kind of helps it glue with the rest. Just to have a little bit of ambience. It also covers up those little flubs. We got a little bit of compression too. That really helps with those funk sounds, and that just squeezes it a little bit and evens it out when you're doing those sort of. So that's basically, we come back to that sound. We kind of use this sound as the template for most of that funk stuff, later on when we get to. That's all just clean, divided by 13. I think it's important to have some of the amp characteristics in that, because we could go just with a straight sort of DI print sound, which we really like in the studio, but it's got just a little bit of hair from the amp emulation, and the divided by 13 is just always been a great template for that. Bonehead rock sound. So I'm just focusing on the clean riffs, but of course Jesse he's got his Fractal with doubling the riff. So for those sort of lines that are unison with the bass line, we do that a lot in Maroon 5 songs. When I'm at home, I usually start with the presets, and then I just tweak the presets from there. When I'm recording or just playing or practicing, there's so many great presets that they've spent so much time developing different scenes, and then I'll go in and tweak them a little bit. A lot of times if I'm recording, I'll take off the reverb. I'll just bypass the reverb that they have in there, because I usually want to record guitars dry. Is usually what producers are requesting. But other than that, a lot of those presets are just ready to go. I could basically just get a stock, one of the floor units. I could play a gig just on the first scene, and it would basically have everything I need. We start our set with this song, Animals. And, it's just like, when you got both your ears in, just sounds like a warm blanket. Stereo delays are so fun to play with. Easy to abuse, so kids, remember, don't abuse your effects. Coming with those delays, when we started, I had the Line 6 DL4, and I'd pound in all the delays manually. Of course, because we weren't really on clicks or anything at that point. At this point, some of these songs are set to tracks, so we can know the tempo and we can dial in these delays perfectly, which is great and something that I already take for granted because I used to be such a pain in the ass. Doing that in the Fractal is obviously great, very easy, and we have that saved in the set list. You can hear here we have this really complicated stereo delay. We also go into open up into like a dirty. Right at the end, we do go into a big part where we actually kick on the Mesa Boogie. That's the super high gain above the Dumble, or even the Friedman. You go to the Mesa Boogie. Song One More Night in the studio, this was this lo-fi sample with this old spring reverb on it. There's this really cool spring reverb that's in the Axe effects, and it's just, I think we also just did some stuff in there to lo-fi it. So that's really cool, even like really vintagey, old-timey sorts of effects the Axe effects can do. Also on this song, it's got some wah, and I'm using the wah at different points throughout the set. Initially, even after I switched to the Axe, I was so used to my regular wah-wah pedal. Initially, I used my wah-wah, but finally, just switched to the Axe wah-wah. Once we dialed that in, it's amazing what it can do. And we can change this sweep pattern, and we spent some time finding where do we want the frequency range to start and end. It's great to have the wah. Everything that we do now is all in the box, and it just makes everything so much easier. There's no other sort of points of failure. So yeah, I've got the wah-wah pedal, but I also always love having a volume, but that's also hooked into the Fractal. And that's just, I just always like having a volume pedal for different swells. We've got another expression pedal, which right now I've got hooked up. Sort of a univibe, rotovibe effect. Sometimes I just kick that on for fun. I used to always have a Dunlop rotovibe on my board. So it's fun just sometimes. We never really know when I'm gonna kick it on, but I can control the speed. I just love that. Stereo Hearts, because this is another sort of reggae sort of vibe, so we added a dubbed out sort of delay sort of thing. Like. We got that sort of dubbed out verse section, and then again, like a big chorus. Lucky Strike, again, it has this spring reverby sort of thing that I guess was on the record, so we recreated it. It's kind of a shitty sounding spring reverb in a good way. And then a big rock solo. And we kind of just go for it with the lead sounds because we can stack gains and just make it big. Stereo delay, like why not? Go for it. There's usually an overdrive pedal added, either the Klon or the OCD, which were both also on my analog pedal board back in the day. And once again, I had expected to maybe use some of those gain stages, some of those actual pedals with the rig, but as soon as we got in and tried the modeling, we realized we don't need to overcomplicate it. It's there, and it, once again, Pepsi Challenge, you know, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. We've got another like solo on Sunday morning that's like, I think because the song's a little lighter, I don't think we went to like full gain. I think we did the Dumble just with an overdrive. I mean, it's still pretty gainy, but you know, just a little bit more chill. You know, I don't think we've really done any of these beautiful choruses yet, but on Payphone, we put in just a nice little chorus. Of course, got that wonderful stereo delay again. And usually, you know, it's like we kick to the chorus, I go down to the bridge, and then and I know that's a Dumble too, because I think initially we started off with the Friedman and it was like a little too much gain, a little too aggressive. What Lovers Do, again, we're just like that same clean sort of sound. That's pretty basic. We go back to our second record, Makes Me Wonder. Again, sometimes these sort of like funk parts, you know, on the record, they've got a little bit of delay. So it Makes Me Wonder's got a little bit. So it's got those little sort of parts. You know, we're really just shamelessly going for Andy Summers there. I am. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Fellow Fractal artist.
Fellow Fractal artist. Very nice. And then, of course, like, once again, big chorus. What do we got going on? So again, we're doing a little bit of delay. For memories, we've just got like a really reverb. I usually wouldn't use that much reverb, but it's kind of there on the track, and the main part is the Wurlitzer that PJ's playing. So this just adds ambience, but this is for sure the biggest reverb that we use. With Memories, I think this was the first song that I actually recorded with the Fractal at home. Quickly put together a patch, didn't save it. Then we chose it as a single, and we pretty quickly had to perform it on some television show. I had to call Cooper frantically with the tracks from the record, be like, hey, can you help me design a patch for this that matches the record? Because the producers had also done some other stuff to the sound. And so I wanted it to be perfect for television. And so that's another great thing. Cooper remotely could help me design the patch, email me the program, we load it up, we're ready to go. And since then, we've done that on a lot of these songs where if we need some help designing a patch by, Yoda, we just go for it, blast the solos, I've just gotta fight for attention out here, so we just go for it. I use the wah-wah to do sort of like the dance filter sweep effect. We tried programming some different filter sweeps. I mean, you could basically make any sort of filter that you want with the filters that are built in there, but we just ended up using the wah setting, which kind of just works like on doing something like a build. I do that at a couple points during the set. Sugar, is just like we have a little bit of delay. It's just again, a very simple riff. So it's just nice to have a little bit of that slapback. In the bridge, we actually got this nice rotary effect. The rotary effects in here. I mean, it's so nice. And I love, I've got a real Leslie at home that I play through sometimes, but again, this gets you there. And we haven't done it, and we don't really need to, but you could hook the speed up to an expression pedal. Something we probably should do eventually. So we also ended up using the axe for an acoustic song, "Girls Like You," and this really helped because the "Girls Like You" sound is a very compressed studio sort of creation. That intro has this filter sweep, and it's really part of the song. How do we do that live? Cooper actually did a video on how he created this, because I don't, like, the wah-wah didn't quite sound right with this. How do we do that? I don't know. I had to have Cooper do it for me. That was definitely above my pay grade. Watch the video, but basically we have a 4-bar filter sweep that I trigger, so I'm going. I mean, that's so cool that we're able to do that. Thank you, Cooper, for having me on Fractal Friday. Check out maroon5.com for upcoming dates. Come see a show. And also, there will be a link to the 4 sounds that we based this entire rig off of that you can take and experiment with yourself. Oh, that's what it was. What is it?
What the fuck was it?